Hey guys, I'm Charlotte.
And I am EJ. And this is
DFW Entrepreneur News. Hey EJ.
How you doing, Charlotte?
I am great. We got some special guests today.
We do. Some very, very special guests.
Welcome to the show. We have Jen and Dave here with us today.
What's going on, everybody?
Hi.
And you guys, we are at the LaunchBox Collective in Fort Worth, Texas. And man, when I say I am blown away today.
Oh my God. Absolutely fantastic. Amazing location.
And we're here to interview these wonderful people. And I guess I'll start with the first question.
All right, let's go.
Okay, let's go. So the first question for you guys is how did you come up with the name and what inspired you guys to build this wonderful business?
Oh, man.
Well, I'll say with the name, we did a lot of back and forth. It took quite a while actually to come up with just the right name because we had so many concepts baked into this idea. So it was hard to kind of pinpoint what we wanted to represent the entire concept. So it took a while, and there was a lot of, Dave is the one who always comes up with really clever names, and there was a lot of, no, honey, I'm not sure about that one.
Yep. Yeah, and I think eventually we landed on LaunchBox because we wanted to create a community environment that was centered around creatives, but also centered around entrepreneurs and being able to educate them. And along that journey, I think being able to have a space to launch your ideas and your concepts is invaluable. Like if I had a mentor growing up or a space that had everything that I needed access to do what I needed to do, like I can't even imagine where I'd be right now, like without having to learn it all myself. And so essentially I was like, well, we have all of these different boxes that we've designed. They're all equipped. They're all furnished. We have education and resources on site to help people launch their dreams. So we'll call them launch boxes. So launch box just came together.
When I first heard the name, I got hungry until I noticed it was launch box.
Yeah. And that happens
it's
frequently.
Launch box. It's launch box people in this location. It's absolutely amazing. Like, oh my God, it's hard to explain it. So I mean, like, you need to come. You need to come. Everybody need to come who's watching this and check this place out. Oh my God.
When you just describe it, I had a clear vision. Oh, that's what that is. Now I can see everything in the box. Launch box. Let's launch this.
Yeah.
So I just got it right now.
Awesome. Well, I'm glad.
There is so much here. I thought it was a co-working space when I first came, but I see it's so much more than that. How would you guys describe it?
We always tell people we're like the future YMCA, or we are a creative community center, in the sense that we have been to so many co-working spaces and studios all around the country. And what was always lacking is a sense of community. You would never walk into a professional studio just because. You have to either have a project going on, you've booked it for something, you're working on some kind of production. A random neighbor down the street is not going to walk by and be like, let me just hop in here today and see what's going on. Same with co-working spaces. Unless you're an entrepreneur that has a desk or has a plan, you're not just going to walk into a WeWork and be like, hi, I just wanted to pop in and see who's here today.
Right.
So in that sense, LaunchBox is definitely more than just a entrepreneur hub or an incubator. It really is a community center, in the sense that while we do a lot of entrepreneurial stuff in here, and we do offer a lot of creative services, our neighbors around this 5-block, 10-block radius can drive up, walk up, they can be walking their dogs and pop in and say hi, grab a cup of coffee with us and just hang out. So in that way, we're a community center.
Awesome. Awesome. Did you want to add to that, or?
Well, I mean, I think just to touch on that, one of the things we have noticed in being in a lot of these different like creative spaces around the country is, like Jen was saying, not only the lack of community, but I think there's also kind of like a lack of like welcomeness, and there's this like corporate stuffiness that you have to like break through those barriers. And I was like, man, when we designed this place, like, I want it to feel like it's your living room. Like every space, I want it to feel like it's your home. So when you're here and you're working and you're creating, like you don't have that weird like corporate tension that you have in a lot of places.
Yeah, the vibes are actually amazing and very creative in this space.
Thank you.
I want to know what core services do you all offer? And I mean, I know you may need to take a deep breath, you know. But yeah, what core services do you offer? Because we had a walkthrough, a tour, and oh my God, like I said, we're going to show y'all a little bit of that footage, and I just had to ask you that question.
Sure.
What core services do you all offer, and what sets them apart from others?
So essentially, the one of the easier way to answer this question is we have created a high level tech environment at an accessible budget range for everyone. So that was really the intention. It's like, how do we take, myself, for example, being in commercial video production for 24 years, how do we take everything that I do, my rates, our expertise, our crew, and how do we give that back to the community at rates that they can afford? And so that's essentially how we designed the space. So, we broke it up into 3 quadrants. So when you first come in, you have kind of your basic open co-working at a very accessible rate, where you can come in 30 days, you get free coffee, super fast internet. And then we have our Studio Alley studios, which are for podcasts, photo, video. We have a radio station down that hallway as well. And those are all priced extremely affordable, $35-$45 an hour. And that comes with all your furnishings. So that's kind of like the LaunchBox side is our intermediate level side. And then as you make your way back through the back of the building, past the co-working and the conference room, you get into more of the commercial production side, the music side, the broadcast side, and then those rates start to increase. So we have a little bit of something for everybody is how we tried to design it. But essentially it's podcast, it's photo, it's video, it's events, micro events or large scale events, concerts. We do music here, festivals. We do a lot of corporate seminars and training. We have co-working here. We have boardroom access here. So you can use this location as your home base for your office. And then we also have a green room. We have one of the largest infinity walls in North Texas in the back for commercial and corporate production work or commercial photography. And then we also have music studios and a record label in the back as well. So a lot of services on site.
Yes. You guys, they are called LaunchBox, but you can't put them in a box, right?
No, that's actually my insurance agent can't stand me because he's doing all of his research when we're trying to insure this place. He's like, this doesn't exist on paper. Like, I don't know how to classify you guys.
Hey, that's what we said, y'all. They are going to have to come up with a whole new term to describe this place. And I mean, oh my God, what was the term we came up with?
A creative community center.
Creative community center, or this.
Yeah,
that's the symbol. Just
so. One thing that we've kind of been dancing around is sort of the inception of LaunchBox, which, Dave and I, we own and operate a professional corporate video production agency. And a lot of the things that we kept finding with a lot of potential clients is we would do these deep dive assessments on their digital footprint, their marketing efforts, their content, and come up with these really thoughtful and insightful plans for them, strategies and content recommendations. And they would come back and look at us and be like, but I could just do this on my phone, right? And we were like, well, yes, you can. It won't be the same.
No, it
But
won't.
but if that's where your budget is at, and if you are overwhelmed and feeling intimidated to take on this type of professional creation, yes, you can start on your phone, on your kids' DSLR. How do you want to get started?
Yeah.
Right.
And so that's kind of another one of the reasons why we started LaunchBox is our heart is for local entrepreneurs and local startups, but they don't always have a Nike budget,
Exactly.
and they're also entrepreneurs. So they have that creative bone in their body where they want to try it themselves. They want to have creative control, learn what that process looks like before they put it in the hands of somebody else, before they put it in the hands of a professional. They want to know what they're getting into so they know what kind of questions to ask, what expectations to have. And they can't really do that unless they do it themselves first and trial and error.
I think just to add to that real quick, I mean, we find a lot of people that podcasts are really hot right now. Everybody wants to do a podcast, to start their own podcast. They want, the 3 camera setup with the RGB light wash in the background and, clean audio and everything. And until you actually get into a space and you start renting all the equipment and see what actually goes into the production side of it, that's when people can really kind of experience why we built this place.
Man.
They're like, okay, I get it now. Like this isn't something that I should probably be doing on my own. You can do it on your own. Right. However, we have the crew and the resources to be able to help.
Hey people, y'all know I preach taking advantage of technology, but I get it now. Oh my God. Like the camera setup, and we really appreciate the love and the vibes. Like you said, since day one when we released the show, we felt the vibes. The vibes are here in person, not just digital people. So we love it. We absolutely
100%.
And I gotta mention, y'all heard that it's a studio, and Charlotte will be dropping her first rap album.
Oh, yeah.
She don't know it, but now y'all do.
We're doing it after the break, so you can watch it live.
Right after the break. Y'all can watch it.
Yeah. I'm gonna say something. No, I'm just playing. No worries. But most of people that are watching are entrepreneurs. And you said you look for startup companies. You were saying a little bit about that earlier. Entrepreneurs that are getting out there in the space. And what would you want to tell them how important it is to have video, a space to come to connect and network with other people?
Yeah, absolutely. So our heart is for small business entrepreneurs. And there are still a lot of you guys out there that are afraid to use content, to create content. And a lot of it is because people don't know what type of content to create. They don't know where to put it. They don't know how to put it out. And it is super important in today's day and age to have some sort of digital presence, because if you don't, people can recommend you all day long on Facebook and you don't have a body of work to show. Exactly. It's really hard to build that trust. It's really hard to build that instant kind of connection and palatability, if you will, to people's different needs and wants with your service. So that's why we find it very important for small business entrepreneurs to create content. And the second part of your question was?
What was it? Do you remember? I don't remember the second part of my question.
Well, I had brain surgery, so that's my excuse. That's always my excuse if I forget anything.
Basically, what would you want to tell them as far as if they wanting a space, if they want to learn more about these type of spaces? What would you want to?
So the great thing about LaunchBox is because we cater to everyone from entry level to intermediate to professional, even if you're not comfortable working with all different types of gear and all these logistics and technological things, and you just have the one phone on a tripod in a studio and a ring light, I always tell people that's okay. You have to start where you can begin. And the main thing is just don't stop. So start with what you're comfortable with, even if it's not super high tech and it might not look or sound the most amazing, but you come to LaunchBox, we put a room together for you. We can help you design your studio space, set up your camera and your light. in just the right way to at least get a good head start. And then as you start getting comfortable being on camera or creating content, we can start adding one little element at a time to ease people in instead of just, bam, here's all the stuff. Good luck.
Peter McKinnon told me to drop $8,000 on all this gear. Now I don't know how to use it, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
And that's essentially how the LaunchBox process works, is everybody picks their starting point and uses our app that we've created, which makes it extremely simple to just go into hundreds of pieces of equipment that we have for rent on site. And just like Jen said, start adding little pieces and start playing with equipment and learning it and understanding it. And really just leveling up, you know, and gradually leveling up. And that's what we're here for. And we also provide that support. And I think that's a key element that I didn't mention earlier, which is why we have such a loyal base and community here, is that we genuinely care about every person that walks the door, whether they end up being members or not. We will sit down with them for an hour, 2 hours, and we'll pick their business apart. Like, what is your goal? What is your strategy? What do you want to accomplish? How can we help you? And if we can help them, we are going to help them no matter what. We will find a way. We're that kind of people. We have that servant heart. If we can't help them, we might recommend them or refer them to someone that we know that can, or one of our members that might be able to help them. So, and I think that's something as well that a lot of places lack. It's just that like genuineness, like feeling like your family when you walk in the door, you know, like
home, like you said earlier.
Exactly. Yeah.
We're very hands-on.
Yeah, we are very hands-on.
And those are the vibes I got, the progression vibes. Like they said, you can come in with that phone, and whenever you're ready to take the next step, it's here. And then the step after that is here too. So I absolutely love that. Yeah, I love that.
I think to that point as well, because we have everything sort of out in the open and people are welcome to come and look at it. And also when we have things like this going on and we have members coming in and out and they see what's happening here, they can start to visualize themselves doing that also. So it makes it just so much more accessible, because a lot of people will go into our Infinity Studio and be like, I've never seen one of these in person before. And again, it's because you would never walk into a corporate studio and be like, hey, I'm just here to hang out. You know,
we just drop into the soundstage.
Versus here, you know, when our members come through, they'll see something like this happening on our stage and be like, hey, could I do a show on the stage like that? Could you show me how to set this kind of thing up and, you know, help me figure out the logistics behind getting sponsorship so I can, you know, pay for a show like this, so I can start expanding my audience, expanding the level of content that I create, reaching more people. So, I mean, it's so great that people can actually have a tangible aspect of the things that they are projecting, the things that they are dreaming of, right at their fingertips.
I know I'm expired, so I know they'll be expired too. One of the unique things that I saw driving up was I saw your name, LaunchBox, on one end of the building. Then I saw 3 other businesses outside. And then I saw the name on the building again on the other end. And I was like, okay, which end do I go in? So I came to the end that I saw first, and then to come in to find out that all of this is connected. So tell us a little bit about that connection that you got going on.
So, like we mentioned earlier, LaunchBox is a kind of a multi-genre entrepreneurial incubator and creative community center. I think a part of that that is missing as well in the corporate space, and especially in the corporate incubator space, are retail startups. And so our idea behind that, you know, we have these little 20 by 20, what we call pop-up suites, right? And essentially they are an Airbnb for startup retail businesses. Wow. And so we're like, how do we I think the idea kind of started for us when we came down from Seattle and we went through our first summer here at to a couple pop-up markets outside. And I was like 15 minutes in, I'm like in the AC in my car, like dumping water on my head. I'm like, how are these vendors out here for 8 hours? This is crazy. And so I'm like, we need to create just, 20 by 20 air conditioned, accessible boxes for retailers, get them out of the pop-up circuit, 3, 6, 12-month contracts. So they're not roped into like 5-year commercial with triple nets and all the things that sink you when you're a starting retailer.
Yeah.
Get them in a space, help them kind of build their traction, build that physical location, and then they can continue renewing if they're doing well in one of our pop-up suites. And if they're not, there's minimal loss, minimal risk. So if they've got to back out after 3 months, there's not a ton lost. But what we've found is all of our renters signed on at our full term, which is 12 months. And our jewelry lady, Karina with Zafiro, she was on the pop-up market, the pop-up circuit forever, but couldn't ever bring any like custom heirloom pieces or like expensive, like, diamonds and things to markets. And so when she was able to open her shop, her business almost tripled within the first 6 months of her being open here. And so people are just finding them extremely beneficial to just kind of getting started.
Pop-up suites.
Yeah, pop-up suites.
God.
And the cool thing for us too is that a lot of people don't understand is like, in the true essence of LaunchBox, like we love all of our renters, but we don't want them to stay here. We want them to get so big that they graduate, and then we send them to a commercial realtor friend of ours. They get a bigger space, and then we can help the next business out and just keep rotating people through.
It's not about keeping it to ourselves. It's really about giving it away.
Yeah,
and
launching
them
them.
out.
Launch them out.
Yeah.
I love that.
He said retail of art. Airbnb.
Yeah.
That's exactly what
Airbnb for retail.
I don't think y'all understand what's going on. Hey, this is such an amazing vision. I'm curious to know what did it look like? I mean, what did your guys' journey and situation look like before the lunchbox? So, like, how did this happen? Where do you come from? What was you doing before this? What led to this?
There's a lot to that question.
Well, this is part one,
right? Yeah, right. Part one. We should turn this into a season. So for me personally, I started out in the music industry on the East Coast. Started out in the music industry. I was signed.
I heard about your bars. I ain't gonna say too much.
I was assigned rapper with Universal Music Group.
I love it.
From there, I had opened up a recording studio. I had a famous musician in the family, and so I kind of grew up around music. Opened a record label, got into the audio engineering side of things, got into the production side of things, and then I just kind of started having a passion for something else. Like my heart was being pulled somewhere else. And a buddy of mine who was out in LA invited me out to a movie set, to a closed set. And I flew out to LA and went onto the set with him. And I just fell in love with video. And from there, I was like, man, I went back to the East Coast. I sold everything. I closed down shop. I moved out to the West Coast and just started in video. I worked all the crew positions around set, familiarized myself with all the different positions and what it took to actually put on a production. And then really through the mud up to where I felt comfortable branching out and starting my own video marketing agency. And then from there, we just kind of toured. We went from LA to Las Vegas to East Bay, NorCal, Seattle, and we're just kind of pitching our flagship service, which was our video business card. And that just kind of became a thing. And then more and more companies started kind of jumping onto that bandwagon. And then we created an award-winning video marketing sales funnel and started bringing on larger corporate entities. And it just kind of got out of hand from there. And essentially all of those components of my life, the music, the festivals, the video production, the live events, the AV, the projection, live streaming, iMag, everything that I had been through up to that point was the foundation of building this place.
I see the journey.
Yeah. It was. Yeah. And I have a little bit of everything in there. Yeah. And then Jen comes from a retail setting, which I'll let you.
So while Dave was always an entrepreneur and creative, I grew up never feeling like I was a creative and that I was not an entrepreneur. I'm very much not a risk taker. I like to keep things safe, contained. I didn't really see myself in that way. But when I look back on the kinds of jobs that I did or the kinds of career moves that I made, there was always a flavor of startup and entrepreneurship kind of layered in. And I did really thrive in those kinds of situations or in those type of environments where I could have some sort of autonomy, or I could be leading the charge within certain activities or developments. So while I didn't see myself that way, once I started to kind of open myself up to the idea of entrepreneurship and then met Dave, that's really where it really started to blossom. And in terms of content creation, I was doing content creation before it was cool. Back in the day with a little digital camera, I was always that one friend. Oh yeah, I was always that one friend, and all of my other friends would be like, "Oh my gosh, she's got a camera out again,"
Oh, and before she goes on, I'll tell all y'all out there a funny story. So this is why my wife and I work so great together. So, my wife has trained me because she's kind of like a micro influencer. She works with all these brands. They send her products. She has to take all these like product photos and everything. So she has me trained to the point where when we go to dinner or a restaurant, as soon as our plates come down, I organize everything in thirds into a frame on the table, and then I get up out of my seat and move off and just stand there and wait for her to take her flat lay photos of like all of the food on the table and the drinks and the mocktails and everything.
What a great husband!
He's the designer. He's a designer for real. Like, he's designed so many of the aspects of LaunchBox as well. Built all of our studios. Built so many of our props and little things. So he really did that. But yeah, I was not an entrepreneur, but always sort of had that little bit of that bone. And then through our relationship and then starting his video marketing agency in Seattle, and then moving it down here, really started to go all in on that. So now I am.
I love it. Affirm that.
Exactly.
Represent that.
I think it's a great, I'm not sure if this is a question or not, but we get this all the time. It's how are you guys we're together 24/7. We work together. Obviously, we live together. We do everything together. My wife does an amazing job from the like customer service, the retention side of things, like helping entry and intermediate level creators. Whereas myself, I'm more behind the scenes. I make the events happen. I make things look nice. And so we have just an amazing synergy, like creative synergy that we've built together. That I think is really the building block of what makes LaunchBox what it is that relationship between us.
I always say, without me, he could not do LaunchBox by himself, and without Dave, I certainly could not do LaunchBox by myself. So it's a combo package. No matter how you cut it, no matter what you do at LaunchBox, it's always going to be a Dave and Jenn thing.
I love it. It's amazing.
Yeah.
You got a question? I've been hogging all the questions.
Let me see.
Okay, I got one.
Okay, you got one. Okay, go ahead. Ladies first.
Okay, if you can invite any guest to your show, like if it's a celebrity or not your show, to the LaunchBox. If you can invite anybody, who would that be? Any entrepreneur, any celebrity, who would you like to have?
I think DFW Entrepreneur News would be our pick.
Good choice.
You guys are here. Like,
I like it. That was a good choice. That was a good choice.
What do you think?
Yeah.
I mean, whoever. Like, I'm positive. Like, people, I have never seen nothing like this in my life, and I haven't seen a lot of stuff. But I'm pretty sure, like any and all celebrities or people of position, we gonna tag them. So who you got? They need to see this here.
Is there a particular type of entrepreneur or just any entrepreneur?
I mean, I think honestly, any and every entrepreneur. I mean,
there
like
you go.
For myself personally, I tend to work with a little more like higher level corporate companies. I probably can't mention names for NDA reasons.
Okay.
And also like professional athletes, things like that,
There you go.
for video production and commercial photography that we do here on site. And then as well as some music producers, Grammy nominated music producers that we have that work in our studios as well. So I would say anyone on the high level, like music, video, you know, photography side of things, I love to work with. So if they want to come in, meet me, sit down with me and talk about the high level stuff, I'm here most of the time, or talk to our commercial photographers on site. And then for my wife,
I don't know if he's as relevant anymore. I'm sure he is, but Gary Vee. I think Gary Vee should come and check out LaunchBox and see. I would love to get his assessment on whether he thinks this is a great idea or not.
Gary Vee.
Yeah.
We
So,
need you to come check
Gary,
this
are you
thing
out there?
baby.
You need to come to LaunchBox. Come to Fort Worth.
And you're going to love it.
and you know what really boggles my mind, like I'm trying to wrap my head around that question, is I think my wife and I have been so tunnel vision on just building this concept over the last like 3.5 years. And we just, you know, we watch content online, but like that, I don't think we see outside of the LaunchBox vision much anymore. So there's just like there's nothing that just like comes to mind immediately, because it's just like our lives are LaunchBox and our members. And so
I love that. I hear service and creativity, creating.
Yeah.
I heard focus.
I did too. Oh, I heard focus.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
Y'all know I love focus.
Right.
Focus is a part of our reality creation, so I love that focus. Are there any books or podcasts? I don't know about anything that inspired you all during this journey. Any like certain during this entrepreneurial journey
that kept you motivated,
that
kept you going. Because in
pushing.
business, there's challenges, right? So what has been that big challenge, and then what kept you motivated? And going?
I can talk about the challenges.
Okay.
There you go.
My wife can talk about podcasts and books and all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
I think for us, we came down from Seattle, didn't know anybody. We had a little bit of family in town, but have no network here, like nothing. And for whatever reason, we just kept getting in our head, Texas during 2020 in Seattle. And so we came down on just what I tell a lot of people, faith and ramen noodles, right? Like, and we built this from nothing, knowing no one, didn't know any developers. Like, you know, we had the vision kind of drawn out, but we didn't know how we were going to get there, because this would have been impossible back in Seattle because of the competition, because of the cost of doing business, the cost of living. This would have been 6 times what it cost to do down here. And so I think a lot of it was just, you know, coming out of the whole pandemic thing and dealing with supply chain issues and contractor issues and trying to find the right people at the right time and the right supplies at the right time, and playing the waiting game and, you know, playing the sub-in game. You know, this company backed out during our reno, so we have to sub them out so we can get another piece of the building put up in the right time. And so there was a lot. I mean, this was an old abandoned chocolate factory from the early 1900s.
Wow.
It's an amazing story. It's if you scroll to the very first couple posts on our Instagram, I did the full backstory and all the magazine articles.
We gotta check that out.
But it was owned by a guy named Hugh
Willie Wonka?
Well,
Almost.
yeah, almost. Willie Wonka of Texas.
Wow.
So Hugh T. Pangburn. He was very influential in Texas. He had pharmacies called Pangburn Pharmacies. And then he also had Pangburn's Ragtime Chocolates. And he would often put those 2 businesses right next to each other. So like a pharmacy and then like a chocolate shop. But, you know, so, which in my mind tells me that chocolate is medicinal, right? So that's all you need, chocolate.
Yeah.
That's what I get.
but the story is really cool. He built a local cafeteria in the community. He had a local basketball team, which was comprised with a lot of his factory workers. Did a lot of like philanthropic things for the city of Fort Worth, and also around Texas as well. When he passed away in 1946, Russell Stovers bought his chocolate recipes and turned them into the Millionaire's candies. And so you can still find Millionaire's candies, but if you look on the top of them, you'll see Pangburns on the top. And that's what was made here. And so when we saw this building, like completely dilapidated, no walls, dirt, trash, metal, heaps of things everywhere, people thought we were crazy. And I'm like, this is it. Like this is. Yeah, I'm like, I saw all of this when I walked in here. Yeah. Like we already could see all those pieces. But I think in the spirit of Pangburn and what we love so much about Fort Worth was the preservation of history and all the stories that are here. And we didn't want to be that couple from like the West Coast that comes and knocks down like a historic landmark and puts up some like glass building, you know. We're like, we can breathe new life into this place and continue on that story. And continue on that millionaire mindset, but in a different way. Not chocolate, but we want people to leave here feeling like a millionaire, whether that's spiritually, whether that's mentally, relationally, community-wise, you know, whatever that looks like to them. We want them to leave here feeling like that. And so we feel like we're in some kind of way carrying on that legacy in this building.
I love it. That takes me to my favorite room. The prayer room. When I saw that, I was like,
prayer room.
I was like, oh my God, this is like, I was like, I get so excited. I started shaking and I was like, so I had to calm myself down and act like, professional, right? But I was so excited that was there as a part of the space, you know? So who idea was that? And
well, faith is a big part of our just who we are as individuals, but also as a couple. And through the journey of moving to Texas and starting this project, Dave also developed more of a deeper relationship with Jesus. And, he did find himself kind of at this very pivotal realization of, we're not doing this alone. None of this could have happened just off of our own talents or, our own works. A lot of things really came together and kind of fell into place in very supernatural ways. Like Dave said, we moved here, we sold everything we had, moved here with nothing to our name, had to restart our entire lives, build a whole new network.
Got no grants, no loans, no help from anybody. It was all self-funded too.
Yeah, a lot of people kept asking us throughout this process, oh, why don't you go get a loan? Or why don't you go do this and that? But the reality is there are so many qualifications and restrictions on small businesses that don't qualify you to receive a loan or a grant, especially because we hadn't opened yet and we were still in the process of building. So faith was really a huge part of us continuing to focus and not lose track and persevere on the process of building. So when we built this building, we knew for sure we had to put in a prayer room or some sort of sanctuary area that anyone could come and find some rest and find some peace. As entrepreneurs, we are always mentally on the go. We are always thinking. It's always stressful. But when we walk into that prayer room, we can kind of like leave it at the door, take a moment with God and just relax, recenter, and, come back to what's actually important, what really should be a focus and a value for that day. Whether you're a Christian or not, the prayer room is there so that people can come and find that rest, find that peace, and then come back out and be like, all right, I feel refreshed. Yeah. I can do this.
That's amazing.
Awesome. So are y'all also faith-based?
I am. Yeah, definitely. We are.
Praise God. Okay. Well, that opens a whole new conversation here.
It may be part 3.
Right, I know, part 3. But
I
no,
love
I just wanted to touch on this too, because we have a
Mhm.
whole nother side of LaunchBox, which is called GraceHouse Collective, which is our ministry side. My wife and I pastor. We also throw encounter nights, open worship
it.
nights. We have churches that start up here, a lot of small groups that start up here, which is our heart for ministry as well. So it's essentially LaunchBox's concept, but from the faith-driven side. But I did want to throw in there that the initial vision of this place that I had been building before my wife and I met, my wife actually saved me. I was not a believer when my wife and I got married.
Wow.
I was in a very dark place. I mean, entertainment industry, film industry, like y'all can't even imagine the kind of things you see out there. But when I finally met the Lord, this vision is when it really took form and shape, because this started out as kind of, and I'll be completely honest with everybody, kind of a selfish endeavor for myself. I was like, I want this ultimate creative facility for my production company to just like have fun in and dwell. And then the Lord came in and I had this vision, and he reached his hand out to me and he said, no, he's like, you need to stop and you need to listen to me. And what I'm telling you is, everything you've been through, everything you've collected, all the equipment you have, all the experiences, the knowledge that you have, I want you to now pass that on to the community. And so that's what changed this into a creative community center. Because initially it was just going to be a silent stream media studio. And then the Lord put his hand on it. He was like, nope. He was like, this is for the next generation. This is so people can get the help that they need spiritually, but also creatively. This is where people can come and meet the Lord if they, you know, have the heart to. But regardless, whether they're believers or not, everyone's welcome in our space, and they're going to feel the Lord's love through my wife or I, no matter what. Because you can't be around Jen and not feel joy or grace. Like that's just what it is, and that spirals into new, you know, questions and conversations. And we've seen a lot of beautiful things happen here as a result of that so far. So we can talk about that later.
I learned something new. Okay, awesome.
I love it. Congratulations on the journey, the expansion, all of the above. If LaunchBox Collective had a theme song, what would it be and why?
Mr. Dave, come on.
Oh man.
I mean,
he pulls out a jingle like nobody's business. Like he is so good at just.
Okay, so I would say during the construction phase,
there you go.
the LaunchBox theme song was Deep End by Lecrae.
Okay.
I've been trying not to go off the deep end, right? Right? Give me a reason. But then I think after the launch and after just seeing the beauty in this community, I would say it would be Thank You, Forrest Frank.
Oh man, there you go.
Yeah. We just want to thank y'all.
I can feel that. I can feel that.
Awesome. This has been a great interview. I'm thankful that you guys invited us out.
Of
course. Has been a great
Thank y'all for doing what y'all are doing. We felt just this instant love for y'all when we saw y'all. So we're so happy you're here.
The vibes are mutual.
Yeah.
Definitely mutual. I got another question before we get out of here. If y'all had one thing or two or three or four to share with the entrepreneurs, you know, to keep them pushing, motivated, focused, what would that be? I know.
I think for me personally, and because everyone has their own journey, everyone deals with their own inner demons, their own inner struggles, stress, you know, things like that. And I would say there are so many phases of being an entrepreneur, and regardless of what you think it is, whether you think it's the devil or others or opinions or whatever, a lot of things are going to bring you down. A lot of things are there to put you in a dark space mentally, discourage you and tell you not to do it and tell you that you're not good enough. And I think that after a certain time, if you keep pushing through and you keep going and you keep fighting, there will be breakthrough no matter what. And I think what happens is too many entrepreneurs give up right at the precipice, right when it's about to happen.
Yeah.
I feel like they just give up. And I feel like you just got to keep your boots strapped and you just got to keep walking that walk, and it will happen. Because if you stick with something long enough and you're good at it and your heart is pure and your intentions are pure, the Lord has nothing other to do than anoint it and make it happen for you. I mean, that's just what it is, right?
That's real.
And so too many people give up and get scared and they fall off just at that right moment. And I think just sticking through it and just not being your own worst enemy and telling yourself every day, like, this is what I love. This is my passion. I'm meant to do this, and I'm doing this for myself and for others, and just keep that on as your focus every day, and you'll get there.
Awesome. Beautiful.
I think for me, one of the hardest things for me to see is people that are doing entrepreneurship as a hobby, because that's where you don't find growth. That's where you won't be able to progress further than what you're currently doing. And that's where a lot of people find frustration, is when they treat their entrepreneurship like a hobby. And to that, I say, go back to your 9 to 5. You know, not everybody is meant to be an entrepreneur, and that's okay. I think that a lot of people today feel the pressure to become entrepreneurs, to have some kind of side business, side hustle. And it's like, you don't have to, because this is not meant for the weak. It is, you have to be so much more disciplined. You have to be so much more tenacious. You have to be very good with people. You have to be very good at building relationships. And on top of that, also build your business acumen, know all of your, tax information. You have to make sure your operational and processes are in place. So many other moving parts that you're responsible for as a business owner. So when I meet entrepreneurs, it's always that first question of, is this your full-time thing or is this just a hobby? Because if it's a hobby, there's only so far you'll go.
Right.
So that's what I would just advise to entrepreneurs out there is, if this is truly, like Dave said, this is something you're passionate about, you're good at, you have a talent for, don't give up. But also in that process, especially during the lows, the valleys, make sure that you are constantly reevaluating, self-auditing your business and yourself as a business owner. What more do I need to be learning right now? How can I be pivoting my business model, my offering, myself as an entrepreneur to position myself for success, rather than repeating the same cycle over and over and over again, where you're not seeing success. So if you're not seeing success as an entrepreneur, make changes, pivot, be flexible, be open to changing things about your business that will put you into the right lane. Don't keep doing the same thing over and over.
Right.
The best time to start is now.
Today.
To right now.
Today.
Risk reaps reward.
It does.
Reward comes from the risks that you take. And if you're not willing to take those risks, you cannot harvest a reward from it.
Man.
And so if there's a risk that you're afraid to take, what I tell you is step out in faith and take that risk, because it's so much greater on the other side.
Right on the other side.
And burn the boats.
Burn the boats.
Burn the boats. Walk in victory.
Cast that net.
That sounds about what I've learned in life.
12,000
square feet of creative greatness.
Yes, sir.
It's called the LaunchBox Collective, people.
Come to Fort Worth. Check it out.
What's the address?
So we are 2726 Lipscomb Street in Fort Worth, 76110.
We're just off the medical district, right by the cultural district. So you'll find us right between Magnolia Street and Berry Street.
EJ, I didn't ask you, what was your favorite room?
People, 12,000 square feet. I have a lot of favorite rooms. They got the
top one. The top one.
Decisions. Oh my God. Let me see. I'm going to go with the studio, since I had a little music.
I thought you was
blood,
gonna say that.
They got a
Yeah,
full
the music
studio.
studio.
People. Like you can record, you can do your video, you can all of the above. So I'm going to go with the studio.
Okay.
Until the next time we come, I'm pretty sure I have another choice.
Something else.
So much greatness, people.
We should make a DFW Entrepreneur News theme song.
Yeah.
Hey.
Yeah.
Okay.
One of these days.
Or maybe like a monthly show here at the box.
That sounds good.
Woohoo.
Hey, y'all heard
Bring
it
some more
first, people.
guests.
Yeah.
He's speaking it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll speak it out.
Yeah.
Hey, and it is what it is, people. We invite y'all already. You are already invited. Make sure to be here.
To the next
tuned.
show. Let's do a
What?
live audience.
Yeah.
I love that.
Hey,
Yeah.
live audience.
Live audience,
All right.
people.
That sounds like alignment to me.
Maybe we should do a poll.
Do you hear me?
That sounds like alignment.
That does, y'all. Well, you got something for these people before we get out of the Charlotte?
Yeah, you know what we say.
Well,
You want them to say it with us?
we got to practice. Do we got to practice?
Let's practice.
Let's practice. The line is, it's nothing hard. What is it? Look, I forgot it. If you stay ready.
If
is
you
that what
stay
it is?
connected,
Oh, connected. There you go. If you stay connected,
you don't have to get connected.
So y'all seeing it here first, people.
Okay.
All right.
You ready?
Tell us.
All right.
Tell us.
Once again, this has been an amazing interview and experience at LaunchBox Collective. People, get here now. It's like almost impossible to explain all the greatness that's in this building, people. And
We thank Jen and Dave for
we
having
do.
us.
We
Of course.
absolutely
Thank y'all for
appreciate
making the
love,
drive.
the vibes. The vibes are mutual. And
It's awesome.
If you
you
stay
stay
connected,
connected,
you don't have to get connected.
See you next time.
Woo!